Caitlin Clark to the New York Liberty? Confirmed? You guys? The photo circulating went viral of Caitlin Clark in the bowels of the Barclays Center with Liberty coach Sandy Brondello and Brianna Stewart and Sabrina.
The photos went viral within hours. Caitlin Clark, still under contract with the Indiana Fever, caught in what appeared to be an intimate conversation in the bowels of Barclays Center. But this wasn't just any casual post-game chat between competitors. Standing right there in the mix was Clark's agent, Erin Kane, turning friendly small talk into the biggest story in women's basketball. The question every WNBA fan is asking right now is the league's biggest superstar already planning her escape from Indiana? After the Liberty's dominant 98-77 victory over the Fever on Wednesday night, something unprecedented happened in the tunnel area. Clark sat out the game due to a recurring groin injury, but she made the trip to New York anyway. That decision alone raised eyebrows across the basketball world. What happened next sent shockwaves through the entire league. There she was, all smiles despite her team getting blown out, engaged in deep conversation with Liberty coach Sandy Brondello alongside stars Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. The optics were striking and absolutely deliberate. This wasn't some chance encounter in a hallway after the game. This was a calculated meeting between a generational talent, her representation, and what many consider the premier organization in women's basketball.
Well, we're going to talk about this little scene that took place after the Fever game last night in New York between Sandy Brondello and Caitlin Clark, the New York Liberty, and the agent. The agent. That is what makes this so interesting.
And many people is insinuating that Caitlin Clark could be trying to plan the outs of Indiana. Yes. People is already saying that Caitlin Clark could be trying to get the hell out of Indiana.
The Liberty players and Clark were beaming, creating a viral moment that had fans immediately speculating about what was being discussed. For a player who has faced adversity from opponents throughout her career, seeing her comfortable and relaxed with the Liberty's leadership group was a welcome sight for her supporters. For Fever fans, absolutely terrifying. This is exactly how it starts in professional sports. There are always signs before a player eventually gets traded or marks their next destination, but here's what makes this situation so explosive. Let's be brutally honest about what's happening in Indianapolis right now. The Fever entered the 2025 season with championship aspirations, rolling out that bold Now You Know campaign promising dominance. They added veteran players like Tana Bonner and Natasha Howard, thinking they could build a championship contender around their superstar. The reality? The Fever currently sit at 12-11, struggling desperately to find any sort of consistent identity. They've been plagued by injuries, with Clark missing 11 games this season alone due to various ailments. Even when she's healthy, the team can't seem to put together coherent performances. One game they look like legitimate championship contenders, the next they're getting demolished by teams they should easily handle. The organization's handling of Clark has been questionable from day one. Remember when the WNBA launched that investigation into alleged fan behavior at a Fever game? They found absolutely no substantiated evidence. The league's treatment of Indiana's fan base, the same fan base that brought record viewership and attendance to the WNBA, has been tone deaf at absolute best.
Is a WNBA team that have been very, very, very much in, like, they made it clear that they want Caitlin Clark, or they're eventually going to want Caitlin Clark. Along those lines, they made it very, very clear. And that team is the New York Liberty. And today, we have just seen the New York Liberty players, after the game, meeting up with Caitlin Clark. It is Stewie. It is Sabrina Ionescu. There is Sandy Brondello. And by the way, Stewie is not leaving New York the rest of her career. That is one thing that I will be 199.
Oh no. So my guess is this right here happened at the conclusion of the game. This, my friends, is currently going viral all over social media right now. That is Caitlin Clark immediately after the game. Now, what's crazy is that her team lost the damn game, but Caitlin is all smiles. She's all smiles.
Meanwhile, Stephanie White's coaching approach has been to force Clark into her predetermined system rather than building that system around generational talent. Think about how backwards that is. You have the most marketable player in the league, someone who brings unprecedented attention to women's basketball, and you're trying to make her fit into your vision instead of maximizing her incredible strengths. White keeps talking about ball movement and getting everyone involved. That sounds admirable in theory, but it doesn't unlock Clark's unique abilities. Clark is at her absolute best when she has the ball in her hands, creating magical moments for teammates and completely taking over games when necessary. White's comments about protecting Clark's peace and helping her navigate suggest she views Clark as someone who needs to be managed rather than unleashed. But that's not even the most infuriating part. Imagine getting paid by ESPN and CBS to appear on national television and having the nerve to tell viewers that the Indiana Fever are somehow more dangerous without Caitlin Clark. That's not just wrong, it's insulting to anyone with basic basketball knowledge. Yet some media personalities actually made this ridiculous claim with straight faces. Now let's compare Indiana's dysfunction with what's happening in New York. The Liberty aren't just defending WNBA champions. They're a franchise that has strategically positioned itself to dominate the league for years to come. With a core of Stewart, Ionescu, and Jonquel Jones, they've already assembled what many consider a legitimate super team. Sandy Brondello, the Liberty's head coach, brings a completely different philosophy to the table. She's a proven winner who understands how to maximize elite talent. She's a two-time WNBA champion as a head coach and has consistently led teams to playoff success throughout her career. Her approach is always player first, focusing on putting athletes in positions to succeed rather than forcing them into predetermined roles that don't match their skills.
This is how it starts in sports. This is how it starts in the NFL. This is how it starts in the NBA. When you start seeing the wheels in motion, there's signs. There's signs before eventually a player gets traded. A player eventually marks their next destination. The Indiana Fever, you're on notice. You're on notice. You better recognize what you've got going on, the asset in front of you, and you do whatever you have to do to correct what is happening.
Guys, today, imagine getting on national TV, being paid by ESPN, paid by CBS, and have the nerve to look at the viewing public, lie to them, and say the Indiana Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin Clark. I'm curious, are those same people going to be on TV this evening, tomorrow morning? Are they going to look in the camera and double down on the Indiana Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin?
Brondello has coached legends like Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner. These are players who demanded the ball and the freedom to completely take over games when needed. Brondello's philosophy is simple but effective. Put players in positions to succeed. Don't force them into systems that limit their impact. The Liberty's roster construction is also significantly superior to Indiana's. They've surrounded their stars with complementary players who completely understand their roles. Natasha Cloud provides veteran leadership and lockdown defense. Leonie Fiebich adds international flair and incredible versatility. Even their depth pieces like Kennedy Burke and Maureen Johannes bring championship experience and clutch performances. Most importantly, the Liberty have created an authentic culture of winning. Stewart has spoken about bringing that championship mentality to New York, and it's crystal clear that mindset permeates the entire organization. They're not just trying to win one championship and call it success. They're methodically building a dynasty that could dominate women's basketball for the next decade. Imagine Caitlin Clark running point for a team that already features Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. The basketball would be pure poetry in motion. Clark's incredible court vision and passing ability would create countless scoring opportunities for Stewart's versatile offensive arsenal and Ionescu's deadly three-point shooting. The offensive potential would be unlike anything the WNBA has ever witnessed. But it's not just about the on-court product that makes this so appealing. The Liberty play in the nation's largest media market with ownership that truly understands the value of star power. Clara Wu Tsai and Joseph Tsai, who also own the Brooklyn Nets, have demonstrated an unwavering commitment to building a championship organization from top to bottom.
I think the obvious issue is Stephanie White is so stubborn to fit a circle in a square peg instead of utilizing the strengths of the team. And she probably felt relief because Caitlin Clark was hurt that, oh, this is my time. I could introduce the culture and the system. And some actually bought in. And then when Kayla Clark comes back, she doesn't know how to use her. That's not.
But the Liberty have shown her love. We've seen that as a bit of a theme. There was the moment between Stewie and Clark when Clark came back from injury the first time. And then there were some nice words. I missed the moment myself of them posted up there for a second. But there were some nice words from Liberty coach Sandy Brondello that I did capture. And I thought
They've invested heavily in state-of-the-art facilities, top-tier coaching staff, and player development in ways that other WNBA franchises simply haven't matched. The Liberty also play at Barclays Center, one of the premier arenas in all of professional sports. The fan experience in Brooklyn operates on another level compared to what Clark currently experiences in Indianapolis. From a pure basketball standpoint, the fit would be absolutely perfect. Clark's incredible strengths would complement the Liberty's existing core beautifully. She's a transcendent passer who consistently makes everyone around her significantly better. Stewart and Ionescu are proven elite scorers who would benefit enormously from Clark's supernatural playmaking ability. The three-point shooting alone would be absolutely ridiculous to defend. Imagine trying to game plan against a team that can launch accurate shots from anywhere on the court with multiple players. Teams would have to completely reimagine their defensive strategies just to compete. The league office has to be privately terrified about the prospect of Clark joining the Liberty. The WNBA has worked incredibly hard to maintain competitive balance across all teams, but a Clark-Stewart-Ionescu triumvirate would be unlike anything the league has ever seen. They wouldn't just be favorites to win a championship, they'd be prohibitive favorites to win multiple championships. Think about the numbers here. Clark led the entire league in assists as a rookie while also being one of the most prolific and efficient scorers. Stewart is a two-time champion and former MVP who can effectively play multiple positions at an elite level. Ionescu is a three-point specialist who holds multiple league records and can create her own shot consistently.
I think there is a 50-50 chance Caitlin Clark leaves Indiana after her rookie season. No, after rookie season, after rookie contract is up. Because I have a feeling that with all the restricted free agency and everything, I think they're going to try to get rid of all coring out of the CBA. I don't think coring is going to be a thing. I don't think coring is going to be a thing in the CBA. And obviously, look, you're going to have to core players. And they're going to have to core Aaliyah a year earlier than Caitlin. And if they're scared Aaliyah is going to leave, and if they're like, oh, we want to core and trade Caitlin, then Aaliyah leaves for nothing. And Caitlin leaves for nothing. So it's a bit of a weird one.
Adding Clark to this mix would essentially guarantee the Liberty a spot in the WNBA Finals for the foreseeable future. Other teams would literally be playing for second place and hoping for injuries or unexpected circumstances. The competitive balance would be completely destroyed, but here's the twist that nobody wants to admit. The WNBA might secretly love this scenario playing out. Clark's presence in New York would bring absolutely massive media attention and television viewership to the entire league. The Liberty's games would become must-see television programming, driving up ratings and revenue for every single team and player. Sometimes having one dominant team is exactly what a developing league needs to capture mainstream attention and casual fan interest. Look at what the Golden State Warriors did for NBA viewership during their championship runs. People tuned in either to watch them dominate or hoping to see them finally get beaten. The elephant in the room remains whether the Liberty's interaction with Clark constitutes tampering under current WNBA rules. The league maintains strict regulations about teams communicating with players under contract to other organizations. Teams can face significant fines, lose valuable draft picks, or face other serious penalties for tampering violations. However, the line between casual conversation and actual tampering can be extremely blurry in professional sports. Players interact with opponents, coaches, and front office personnel constantly. The presence of Clark's agent certainly makes this situation more questionable from a legal standpoint, but without audio recordings or clear evidence of specific recruitment discussions, it's difficult to prove tampering actually occurred. Unless there's undeniable evidence of recruitment conversations, the league is unlikely to take serious action based solely on a tunnel conversation after a game. That said, the optics are absolutely terrible for the league's image. Having a superstar player and her agent meeting with a rival organization's leadership immediately after a game sends a clear message that the current system isn't working effectively. It suggests that players and agents are already actively thinking about future opportunities and potential moves, even when currently under contract with other teams. That's not the message the WNBA wants to send about player commitment and organizational stability. The relationship between Clark and Stephanie White has been consistently portrayed portrayed as positive in mainstream media coverage, but there are clear signs of underlying tension for those paying attention. White has repeatedly talked about fitting Clark into her existing system rather than building creative solutions around her unique strengths. For a generational talent like Clark, this approach is fundamentally flawed and represents coaching malpractice at the highest level. White's coaching philosophy emphasizes ball movement and getting everyone involved equally. While that's admirable in theory and works with certain personnel, it doesn't maximize Clark's unique abilities that make her special. White's public comments about protecting Clark's peace and helping her navigate external pressures suggest she views Clark as a player who needs to be carefully managed rather than completely unleashed to dominate games. That's absolutely the wrong approach with a player of Clark's rare caliber and competitive fire. Compare that philosophy to how Sandy Brondello has successfully handled superstars throughout her coaching career. She's coached legends like Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner. These are players who demanded the ball and complete freedom to take over games when necessary. Brondello's time-tested philosophy is simple. Put players in positions to succeed naturally. Don't force them into predetermined roles that limit their impact. Let's be completely honest about the reality of playing in Indianapolis versus New York from a business perspective. While Indianapolis has genuinely embraced Clark and the Fever organization, it's still a relatively small market compared to New York's massive reach and influence. The Liberty play in the nation's largest media market with direct access to sponsors, endorsement opportunities, and media attention that simply doesn't exist at the same level in Indiana. For a player of Clark's incredible stature and marketability, market size matters significantly for long-term earning potential. She's already the most marketable player in the WNBA by a considerable margin, but playing in New York would amplify that exponentially. The endorsement opportunities alone would be worth millions of dollars in additional annual income. The business opportunities extend far beyond basketball into entertainment, fashion, and media ventures. The organizational commitment to winning is evident in everything the Liberty ownership does. They've built state-of-the-art training facilities and hired top-tier coaching staff throughout the organization. The difference in resources and commitment compared to other franchises is night and day. Clark's potential move to the Liberty would create massive implications throughout the entire league structure. It would create an almost unbeatable super team that would force other organizations to make dramatic roster moves just to stay competitive. The competitive balance implications are absolutely staggering to consider. The Liberty would essentially become the Golden State Warriors of the WNBA, a team so incredibly talented that they'd be heavily favored to win every single game they play during the regular season and playoffs. Other franchises would need to completely rethink their approach to team building and player acquisition. The response from fans across social media has been immediate and intensely emotional. Clark's supporters are genuinely excited about the possibility of her joining a championship caliber organization where she can actually thrive. They've watched her struggle with persistent injuries and inconsistent team play in Indiana, and they desperately want to see her in a situation where her talents can be fully utilized. Liberty fans are understandably thrilled about this possibility. Adding Clark to their already loaded roster would create a team capable of dominating the league for years to come. The excitement around the franchise would reach unprecedented heights and likely sell out every single game. Fever fans, meanwhile, are in complete panic mode about losing their franchise player. They've built their entire organizational identity around Clark, and losing her would be absolutely devastating both financially and competitively. Season ticket sales, merchandise revenue, and media attention would plummet instantly. Sandy Brondello's track record speaks volumes about her ability to handle superstars, championships, consistent playoff appearances, and a reputation for getting the absolute best out of elite players. Her approach to coaching is always player first, adapting her system to fit players' strengths rather than forcing round pegs into square holes. With Clark, she would likely implement an offensive system that maximizes her incredible playmaking ability and court vision while still utilizing the existing talent effectively. The Liberty's coaching staff is also significantly deeper and more experienced than Indiana's current setup. All the signs are pointing toward an eventual departure from Indiana. The meeting with Liberty leadership, the presence of her agent, the visible comfort level with New York's organization, and the ongoing struggles in Indianapolis paint a clear picture of what's coming. This viral tunnel meeting might be remembered as the moment everything changed in women's basketball, when the league's biggest star decided she deserved better than dysfunction and started planning her path to a championship caliber organization that could truly maximize her incredible talents. The WNBA is about to witness a seismic shift that could reshape the entire competitive landscape for years to come.